The most popular instrument of the 17th century was not actually the harpsichord. It was actually the lute, which was similar to a guitar but has a pear-shaped body and a larger back, and it's lighter, and has a lot more strings. Um, and that's because it was portable, it was cheaper, and was very popular. The tone was very popular on the lute, so it was the favorite instrument of that time period. Um, but it was for travel. Now with keyboards, keyboards were limited at the time. A harpsichord was something like buying a new SUV. It was a lot of capital outlay for one time, but it was also very popular, and there was a lot of transference between the two. So music that was written for the lute would be adapted for the harpsichord, and vice versa. Music for the harpsichord would be adapted for lute. Eventually, the lute would be replaced in popularity by the guitar, which reached its final stage of development in the 18th century into the form that we know it today. And it was a lot easier to play than the lute. The harpsichord eventually won out over the lute in popularity because it was louder and you could play more notes on it. But the tone was still desired, so one of the features that a lot of the harpsichords had on them was a stop known as the lute stop. And what that would do is we would pull a lever or pull a knob, and that would put a strip of leather against the strings so that when they were plucked, they wouldn't resonate as much, and it would make it sound kind of like it was being a guitar or lute being played. And that was very popular, especially since there was so much music that was adapted back and forth. For instance, this piece is a sonata by Johann Sebastian Bach that was originally written for the lute. But the form that most of us know it in is in this transcription that his son, Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, made of it for the keyboard. So I'm going to play this now with the lute stop in place so you can hear it, as it was probably played in its own time period. the nice features that the Roland C-30 has is that with both sets of instruments, the French harpsichord and the Flemish harpsichord, the lute stop is included with both those. So you have the options to play the 8-foot, the back 8-foot, the 4-foot, and the lute stop all in combination with each other. So it's a nice feature and gives it a little bit more authenticity to the actual acoustic instrument.